Welcome to Cake and It's Special. My name is Lauren and welcome to my new studio. I know the colour is the same, but I like what I like. So for this Halloween, I decided to make a sculpted pumpkin cake. So here we go. I have 5 vanilla cakes that I will stack with vanilla buttercream. I start with a 7-inch on the bottom and then add a nice layer of buttercream, then an 8-inch buttercream, then a 10-inch. Now I remember that the 10-inch doesn't need a layer of buttercream until I'm part way through doing it. But it's okay, I just scrape the buttercream off and save it for my crumb coat. The reason that I don't need it is because this now needs doweling so that I can lay a board down to support the cake going on top, which is another 8-inch and 7-inch. And when the cakes are stacked, I can begin carving. How to describe carving a pumpkin? I mean, pumpkins come in all different shapes and sizes. You can't really go too wrong with it. I mainly just tried to blend all the layers as best I could so that it all looked like one piece. But at the same time, I was rounding the whole thing off. I also have to carve the dip in the top that will have the stalk in later on. And when I'm happy with the overall shape, I can start carving in the grooves. So I decide where I want the lines to go on the pumpkin, and then I carve it out almost in a V shape, removing a V of cake all the way down the line. Does that make sense? So I do this all the way around the cake, apart from the area where I will add the face.
Perfect.
When I'm happy with how all that is looking, I can then do a crumb coat. Make sure not to lose all the grooves that we've just carved in with buttercream. When I'm happy, I put the cake in the fridge for around 20 minutes to let the crumb coat set, and then add a second layer of buttercream. Again, I really didn't want to lose all them grooves I've added, so I really take my time with my offset spatula and then I go in with a flexible smoother. And now I can move on to fondant. I've dyed some fondant in an orange that will be a nice base colour, and then I can drape the fondant over my cake. I'm not worrying about the section where the face will be. In fact, I'm trying to avoid it because I don't want to have to throw away the fondant after it becomes covered in buttercream. As soon as I get the fondant on, I just use my hands to smooth it all out and cut away the excess. I wanted to texture the pumpkin further, so I score in some more details with various sculpting tools. Okay, for the face. The way I did this was I took my orange fondant and built up the facial features. So the chin, the cheekbones, the nose, the eye sockets and the mouth. Basically anything I wanted raised from the cake. And then what I do is I cover the face in a layer of yellow fondant. For me, this is where you see it all come to life. I really make sure that I take my time and make sure that everything is where I want it to be before I put the yellow fondant on. Now I take some sculpting tools and a soft dry paintbrush and work in the yellow fondant into all them facial features. And once that's done, I can score in the further details like the eyes and all of the creases in her face. She definitely looked more witchy with the more details that I added. I think the cool thing about this cake is I'm not trying to make her look like a specific character. This is just something that I've come up with in my head, so you can't really go wrong. There's so many ideas as well. There are so many places you can take this design. So now I make up a paint using some yellow and red rainbow dust and a clear food grade alcohol, and then paint it all over the orange fondant. I do the same on the face but with a yellow paint. I also make a green paint for the top of the pumpkin and a couple of places on the surface. For the stalk, I take my remaining orange fondant, add a little bit of Tylose powder, and then roll it into a tube. I flatten one side of it into a disc and pinch loads of points so that it will sit nicely in them grooves on top of my pumpkin. I insert a dowel through the centre so that I can handle it without making imprints. And then I use my knife to score a load of details into it. Then I can insert that onto the top of the cake and paint it up with some more of my green paint. I want to go over the face one more time with my yellow paint, but before I do that, I take a tiny bit of my orange paint and go over the creases in her face, just to really define them.
Perfect.
And there she is. I really hope you do like her. If you do decide to use this tutorial to make your own, I would absolutely love to see it. And of course, while you're here, please do subscribe to this channel. Every single subscriber helps me out. I bring you a new tutorial every Wednesday. So hopefully I will see you next week. Happy Halloween, guys.